The other thing I think that through all this, because people wanted to believe so much that Dan was going to be healed,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, how did you balance out the reality of he's dying with the hope of him being healed? Because I can't speak to that issue because it wasn't about me.
Right.
I'm on the outside looking in, hoping that you can handle this,
Mm-hmm.
the faith of healing and the reality of the moment. How did that go?
I don't know. I just I just trusted in God. I knew that He would, however it ended, was going to be for His glory. I don't really know how to answer that. Because I knew in my heart that God could heal, and I believed that He would, and when He didn't, it didn't change anything. I still believe that He can heal anybody else. That any of us that.
Well, we've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen healings before.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it, and we don't not believe in healing,
right?
But we believe in healing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that because, like I said, I totally believe that He could.
Maybe there is no easy answer to that.
Right.
And maybe that's the problem with the people who want to smack an easy answer on there, put an easy label on it, and and just write it off. And I think maybe that's what it is. Maybe the people who want to declare, well, if you just had more faith, you'd see it happen. I'd like to punch those people in the face sometimes.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's like they are not in touch with reality. For some people, they don't realize it. And they almost want to. Well, it's definitely a position of arrogance and condescending, as if I had more faith,
right?
And if you had more faith, which I would say to those people, then why don't you heal them with all the faith that you have? If you're so super spiritual with your faith, then you do something about it.
Yep.
But the fact of the matter is, they can't, and I almost wonder if those people have less faith, and they have to keep telling themselves they have more faith,
right?
Because they don't have any faith.
Yep, they're still trying to do it themselves instead of letting God do it.
Yeah, and they have to work out the scenario that this is what God has to do to confirm all these things, and that's why when it doesn't happen, they're devastated. They don't know what to do, or So I don't know. I don't know how that works out. The details of why some people get healed and why some people don't, but Dan's story and through all this, you're right, Denise. His death had a greater impact on people than I think if we had seen a great miracle.
Right.
It had just been chalked up on the list of great miracles to be forgotten.
Right.
And it'd be awesome if we could all get that picture of it. That if what I'm suffering or if what I'm dealing with, what I'm going through, can minister to somebody, can help somebody else, then for their sake, it's worth it. It may not make it easier on us, but it's worth it. And there's verse talks about all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and stuff like that. And that's such a great catchphrase, or whatever. We just throw out there a cliche statement, and it becomes very empty, I think, at times. It's like, yeah, whatever, keep it to yourself, buddy, because I'm hurting right now.
Right.
But on the grand scheme, the grand picture of things, it really does work out for the good. It's just not always easy to see in the moment. And I sure don't want to say that and make anybody mad at me. Here he goes again, throwing out another cliche statement. That's not it. But we really do have to step outside of our immediate circumstances and what we're exactly going through and see the bigger picture. Here we are, a year and a half now,
pretty much
after Dan's death. And I remember it was 4 or 5 months afterwards. I was just having some people share, and I asked you to share.
It was about this time last year.
Was this one was about this time last year? And what did you say? Because it was just awesome.
I said that I love my life. I miss Danny, my mom. I was really close to my mom too, and she passed away in March, and then Danny passed away in July. But that God just saw me through all of this. He's given, and not just seen me through. I've come through this with flying colors.
Yeah.
I'm just every day. I'm happy. I love my life. God fills me with peace and a joy that I never knew before.
Yeah.
So.
It's good.
Yeah, it is. I love my job. I have a great church family. I've got great blood relatives, friends, I'm happy. I miss Danny, I always will, but I'm happy.
And that's not a facade either. That's not a pretending, put on a strong face and suffer through it. Because you did that. And maybe that's part of it. You did so much suffering before
he passed away.
That when he passed away, the suffering part had already been done. You had to grieve the loss, and then it was over with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, and that's how it was. And like I said, the way Danny faced everything made it so much easier too. He wasn't struggling with it. He wasn't upset and always, why me? Or I don't think he ever asked that question one time.
No, I don't think he did.
But so the way he faced it made it easier for me.
Yeah.
And then something else that I wanted to say was how well God's using me and what I've gone through. I work at a doctor's office. I'm the receptionist, and we had a rep come in the other day that we were talking a little bit. She was a hospice representative, and I had mentioned that my husband was in hospice, and she made a comment to me that her husband had passed away about 4 months ago. And so I was really able to minister to her. I knew exactly what she was feeling and what she was going through. And, the old cliche that time heals all wounds. And it really does. It does make it easier as time goes by. So I think, God's really used me a couple of different times on what I've gone through. I can actually say, I know what you're feeling. I've been there.
Yeah, I guess that's something that I've really been learning this past year is empathy for other people, and walking with you guys through all that horrible year, and I still had an outside perspective. I wasn't in your home at the worst possible moments. I was just there on the outside, I guess. But when you are a part of or witnessing someone in their struggles and their challenges and stuff, it can bring such empathy to you if you allow it. I mean, it's so easy to just harden your heart and try to be devoid of any sort of reality and put on a super spiritual face and act like it's not okay to be open and honest and real, and to be upset and be sad. It's like we have to always pretend to be something big and great, and I don't think that's right. I think it's better to be honest and open, and I've been learning empathy with people for the things they go through, the things they're struggling with, and it's like and really until you have walked a mile in someone's shoes,
right,
you don't know how their feet feel.
Right, exactly.
But once you've gone through some of these things, you really can turn around and minister and help someone else go through it. So I don't know, some of that air of superiority that goes with that hyper faith, if you would just believe better, or that plastic faced well, just keep praying and keep believing, brother, and that just makes me sick. It really makes me sick. But when people are truly, genuinely open and honest in relating to one another and saying, knowing this is how you feel and this is how it hurts, and I'm struggling with you, I'm crying with you, I'm happy when you're happy, honestly, for you, and I'm sad that you're sad, and I'm praying and I'm believing with you for this, but I know that there's a great chance that it's not going to happen. Right. And when it doesn't happen, I'm not going to patronize you with flowery words. I'm just going to cry with you, and I'm that raw, authentic life. And I know what I think that's probably there outside of the church walls more than it is inside the church walls. It's like real people don't have some of those facades, maybe, and I don't know, maybe that's just in my mind, but I know it can be so prevalent in the church world, and I'm glad that we didn't have to work through a lot of that. We didn't have a whole lot of that.
Right.
I think I don't remember if I said this to the church or I thought about saying to church anyways, is if someone had the audacity to come to you with if you just had more faith, I was going to kick their butt.
Yeah. No. Yeah, because that's like saying because Danny didn't get healed, I didn't believe enough or didn't pray hard enough, or that's so not true.
So not true. So insulting.
I think it shows, like you were saying earlier, more of a faith to just leave it in God's hands. Pray every day and ask but his will, you know. And because of his death, his sister's coming to church now. My sister-in-law's coming to church. My nephew with 3 little kids are coming to church. Just a way, you know, they're having that chance to learn about Jesus, where they might not have if Danny would have lived.
Yeah, because I mean, you're not saying that like, you know, the most important thing is that they're, you know, coming to the church.
Right.
That was just a positive thing that came out of it. Is, you know, these other people are now embracing something, you know, or at least searching out for something, you know, a faith thing that they didn't have before.
Right.
You know, and you're right about the sisters. You know, they're part of our family now. We're all because of that. It's like I didn't know these people, and now I do because of Danny.
Yep.
So. And hey, you guys, by the way, since you'll probably be listening to this, hi, how you doing?
Vivian.
Hey,
hi, Crystal.
Hey. So, anyways, this has been fun. This has been this is good. I'm curious to see what keeps happening and what other opportunities present themselves, and you know, and what the rest of your life is going to entail.
Yeah.
You know. Because there's just always something else there. There's always more with God, and what's tomorrow going to bring, and what's the next day going to bring. And one of the things I really love is that you did not just crawl into a hole and stay there.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure you had your moments.
And
I don't say that to attack the people who are there.
Right.
You know.
And I would have been that person if I wouldn't have known Jesus Christ. I know Danny and I were very close. We did everything together. You know, we spent time I mean, we were married, we were happy, and I know how I am, and I would have. That's exactly what I would have done, is crawled into a hole if I wouldn't have had Jesus. He just, you know.
Yeah, and like I said, that's not to say that to shame the people who have crawled in a hole. It's to maybe give you a glimmer of hope, or you know, a lifeline, something that says you can come out of that. You will. You know, just don't give up.
Right.
Don't give up. We recognize you're there, that you're in the hole, but just don't give up. Hold on, hold on. You can, you know, and for sure, don't let anybody beat you down or shame you and make it worse for you that you're there. You know, maybe come to grips with the fact that that's where you're at, and be okay with that. Say, okay, this is where I'm at, and it's just the truth. You know, but don't resolve to stay there. Right. Resolve to get out of it. And I love that about you, Denise, that you have come through this, all the suffering and all the turmoil and everything, and you're happy. You're happy.
Yes, I am.
And it's awesome. It's absolutely incredible. Okay, well, I guess that about wraps this up. I know that if this goes too long, then people won't bother to listen to it because they'll look at the time signature and won't have time. But for all of those of you who did, hope you enjoyed this. I'm hoping to continue doing some of these little chit chats with people. So until next time.